Hi, welcome to Sue Marie P. My name's Sue and today I'm going to share how to make my homemade buckwheat granola recipe. We've been buying granola or buckwheat granola from a brand here in the UK called Eat Natural and it's fantastic. I suddenly thought, I have all the ingredients, why don't I try and make it myself? I'm not sure if it's any cheaper, I haven't done the maths yet, but I just like knowing what's in my food. So if you'd like to see how I make my homemade buckwheat granola, come with me and let's see. If you're just visiting for the first time, welcome. I love sharing semi-healthy recipes. I love baking with buckwheat flour and spelt flour, and I like creating some different ideas, and I just share what I'm eating. At the moment, I'm trying to be a little bit healthier, so that's why I'm making my own granola. So in the oven, I'm going to toast some buckwheat groats. That's what they're called, like buckwheat grains. They look like little pyramids. So that's 150 grams, or 3/4 of a cup. And I'm gonna add a little bit of oats. You don't need to add oats if you don't want to. I'm just doing that for a bit of variety of texture. And I don't have gluten-free oats, but if that's important, make sure you buy gluten-free oats. That's 1/2 cup, or 50 grams. And then I've got a whole combination of seeds. I love seeds in my granola. If you want to add nuts as well, feel free, but I'm just doing just seeds today, so it's nut-free. So 70 grams of sunflower, or 1/2 cup. 70 grams of pumpkin seeds, or 1/2 cup. And they're going to be a bit squishy on my tray, but it should be fine. And in here I've got 2 tablespoons or 16 grams of sesame seeds. So I'm just going to pop that in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. I've had my oven preheating at 150 for about 20 minutes, so it should be warm. If you're in a hurry, you could probably get away with not pre-toasting them, but I love pre-toasting them because it just brings out the flavour a little bit more. And then we're going to add the different things later. If you're curious about other recipes that I've got, I'll pop some links up above for some buckwheat ideas. And I've also got a website called suemariep.com where there's a search bar so you can search for all my recipes. And I've also got a monthly newsletter if you want to subscribe to that. Please jump over to suemariep.com and you can subscribe to that. I share just a few different ways of looking at the recipes, and I share some extra tips and tricks. So the first step of roasting's done. So now we're going to pop all of that into my bowl here. You might notice that some of your buckwheat grains or groats get a little bit browner than the others, but don't worry because it'll be fine. So in the bowl, I'm going to add some flax seeds. So I basically just grabbed whatever seeds I had and threw them in, and then it tasted amazing. So I've got 2 tablespoons or 20 grams of flax seeds. I've got some chia seeds, 1 tablespoon or 11 grams. And only because I had it in the cupboard to use up, I'm doing 1 cup of puffed rice. They're just Rice Krispies or rice bubbles as they're called in Australia. If gluten-free is important to you, make sure you buy gluten-free ones, or you can make it without as well. But I loved all the different kind of levels of crunch, the difference between the buckwheat and the puffed rice and the seeds. Just tasted so great. Now into that I'm going to add a little bit of spice because I love spice, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and I popped in 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom, ground cardamom, because I love cardamom, but if that's not your thing, leave it out. And then the oil I've used in this recipe is coconut oil because I had it in the cupboard, but you could probably swap it out and use whatever oil you like. So I've got 2 tablespoons of coconut oil that I've melted down. I just melted on my stovetop, pop my metal measuring cup on top of a fry pan, but if you've got a microwave, you can do it in a microwave. And last but not least, I'm doing maple syrup. You can use any liquid sweetener you like. If you're trying to avoid high fructose sugar, you can do something like monk fruit or brown rice syrup, date syrup. So I'm doing 3 tablespoons. Or honey, you could even use honey, but I love the flavour of maple syrup and I went for flavour more than the other sweeteners. Now I'm going to toast all this back in the oven for 20 minutes. And just make sure the bottom bits are all coated too before you get carried away. If you haven't got a large baking tray, you can spread it over 2 trays. It's just good to make sure that you've got a little bit of space so everything can toast. The other thing you could do also is add coconut flakes. I bought some, but I decided not to add them because I loved it so much without that I just wanted to keep it simple. So I'm going to pop this back in the oven at 150 degrees C fan forced for 20 minutes. So the granolas are toasted. What I should have said was if you wanted to stop it halfway or flip it around and toss it so you get all your buckwheat evenly coated. Sometimes I forget, so I don't always do it, but what we need to do now is just let it totally cool on the bench until it's room temperature, and then I transfer it into kind of a jar or a container like that, and it lasts for about a week or 2. Once it's cooled, if you want to add some extra bits into it, like dried cranberries or raisins, feel free. I don't, because I don't always want dried fruit in my granola, so I like to just keep it separate. My husband loves it. I like adding fresh fruit instead. So that's it. Let me know in the comments below if you give this recipe a go, and I'll pop some other links up above for some other buckwheat ideas. And if you want to see more ideas with buckwheat groats, let me know as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.